Okay, I think we can get started. It is noon in Central Time, 1 Eastern, so this is probably lunchtime for everyone. And I wanted to welcome you here to this week's Savvy session. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Okay, I think we can all see the cleaning and maintenance checklist screen currently. Thanks everybody for joining me today. I'm excited to dive into one of the most important, but I think often overlooked parts of running a successful short-term rental, and that is our cleaning and maintenance checklists. I'm Melissa Young, for those of you that don't know, and I am an STR owner and manager since 2022. I have built my business around delivering five-star guest experiences, and I co-host properties in addition to owning my own. I consult with investors, and as a licensed realtor with Savvy STR Investors here in St. Louis, I specialize in helping investors buy, set up, and grow successful short-term rentals. And as many of you know here, we have a whole team. I just focus on St. Louis, but one of the biggest advantages of being part of the Savvy is our national reach. We have agents in most of the major markets across the country. So if you're looking beyond St. Louis and you want to diversify your portfolio, or you're a first-time short-term rental investor, reach out to us. You can go to savvy.realty on the web, and we'll connect you with the right team member in your market to help you find that perfect property. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff. Cleaning and maintenance. So first of all, why does it matter? And I want to start with the big picture. Cleanliness is the #1 driver on reviews, and guests may forgive a small little hiccup here and there, but if your property isn't spotless, that's all they're going to focus on. And maintenance is the other half of that equation. So when you ignore little issues, they can lead to expensive repairs. And what I mean by that is something as simple as forgetting to change out the furnace filter regularly. When that furnace filter becomes clogged, it not only creates dirtier air that your guests are breathing, but it creates more wear and tear on your HVAC system, which could then lead to repair bills and issues later. And of course, if your HVAC goes out, you're going to have to cancel bookings, you're going to have to issue refunds, pay for expensive repairs. So you want to do little things as you go along to help prevent those systems from breaking down and keep everything running as smooth as possible. Also, having checklists in place creates a consistency. So it ensures, the guests have a safe environment to be in. It protects your investment. All of these things like cleaning and maintenance items aren't just things that are nice to have, but they are essential. And I can tell you firsthand, systems like this are how I've maintained a perfect 5-star record. Let's go to the next slide. When we think about turnovers, it's easy to just think of them as cleaning, but they are so much more than that. Turnovers are about consistency, where every guest should walk into your home and feel like they're the very first guest ever to step foot in there. They're about that experience. The little touches like neatly folded towels or coffee setup really make that guest feel special. And they're about protection. Turnovers are your chance to catch those issues before they become big, expensive problems. Next, let's talk about what every cleaning checklist needs to cover. A strong cleaning checklist covers all your basics, but you want it to be detailed also so that nothing gets skipped. In the kitchen, we want to wipe those counters down, appliances, make sure dishes are done, trash is removed, check the refrigerator out, because trust me, guests are going to be opening up that refrigerator and they're going to want to see that it's nice and clean. Bathrooms, obviously, you want to scrub toilets and showers. The mirrors should sparkle. Always restock those supplies. I know that in houses with white tile everywhere, it's real easy to spot hairs and things that get left behind. So I have my cleaners do like a triple clean. They're going to vacuum, they're going to mop, they're going to vacuum again to make sure we catch everything. The bedrooms, you're going to want fresh linens, obviously. Check under those beds. I think that gets missed a lot. Little things can fall under there. Dust bunnies can get under there. And trust me, your guests are checking under those beds. They want to see how clean you keep that place. And obviously wipe off all of the surfaces. And then the living areas. We're going to dust, we're going to vacuum, wipe down the electronics. when a TV is turned off, you can see so much dust that accumulates there. So it's real easy to just take a rag and wipe through that real quick. And then finally, we want to check for safety too, right? Make sure the locks are in good operating order. Test those smoke detectors. It's not hard to take your broom and just pop it up on the smoke detector and hit that button real quick and make sure that it's working. And those carbon monoxide detectors, push that button as well on those. Guests won't always see that, but they're going to definitely know if they're not working if the time, heaven forbid, ever comes that they need to. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. Talk a little bit about the cleaning system that I have that's been working for me. And I have a two-layer approach. I have tech, and then I have paper backup. And I had to come across the paper backup the hard way, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So I use an app. It's called Turno, and there are many apps out there. This is just the one that I've chosen, and it's working for me. And it gives cleaners a checkoff list. So the app itself, when the cleaner arrives on site, they open up the app, they hit a button, it checks them in. I know that I've been alerted that they're there. And then there's a checklist for each room, for bedrooms, kitchen, living rooms, so forth. And they can go through and just push a button and check off each item as they go. It also allows them to take photos of the room when they're finished and upload it into the app. So we have the timestamp on there. So if a guest ever later tries to say something wasn't complete, I can go back and review the photos to see if in fact it was or not. But also, tech systems can fail. Maybe the app isn't working one day, or as in my case, the cleaner got there and her phone had died and she didn't have a way to charge it while she was cleaning the place. So she had to kind of wing it and she missed a few things. So what I do is I also have a paper copy that I keep in the locked cleaner's closet, and I have a binder that I keep for my cleaners. And in that binder is the paper copy of the checklist, as well as pictures of every room so that they can see exactly how we want the room to be. How are the pillows supposed to be displayed on the bed? How are the throw blankets supposed to be displayed on the couch? Again, we want to maintain that consistency. We want the houses and the rooms and the house to look exactly like the photos because that's what people booked on. Next slide. Talk a little bit about guest experience extras. One of the easiest ways that you can stand out is to be thoughtful and put a little extra touches in your house. I actually charge a little bit more to the guest than my cleaner charges me. So let's say it's $30. So if my cleaner charges me $120, I'm going to charge $150 to the guest. That extra $30 I'm going to put into a slush fund, and I'm going to do two things with it. Number one, I'm going to use it to buy extra supplies that they wouldn't normally see at an Airbnb, like hair ties, feminine products, pre-pasted toothbrushes, things that guests sometimes can forget to pack. And believe me, they love these. I get called out in my reviews all of the time by all of the amenities and the thoughtful extras that I left for them. Also, in that slush fund, I'm going to tip my cleaner out anytime a guest mentions how clean the place was in a review. So if a guest comes and stays and in the review they mentioned that my place was spotless, I'm going to kick a little tip over to the cleaner that cleaned it last so that I can keep them happy and keep them making sure that they're doing a good job, because again, those guests are going to notice it. All right, let's go one more. Let's talk a little bit about commonly missed items. And even with the best cleaners, certain things are just going to fall through the crack. Again, this is why checklists are so important. But remotes, I have them grab the remote and just turn it on and make sure they're working every time that they're there. Light bulbs, we want to make sure every light and lamp has a bulb that's working, because those can go out easy and get missed. And a guest isn't used to your house, so when it's dark, it's the worst when they can't find the light to turn on. So we want to make sure that those are working. Again, check under the furniture, check under those beds, because your guests are going to be doing that. We want to get the outdoor spaces too. Don't forget that, that first impression when they're walking up to the front door, are there cobwebs around the light by the front door? Let's knock those down really quick. Again, just take a broom. It doesn't take long for them to just do a quick sweep through the front areas, through the outdoor areas, and make sure that they look presentable. And then of course, restocking. Always make sure there's paper towels, toilet paper, all of the toiletries that the guests need, extra towels, because you don't want them to have to reach out to you in the middle of their stay because they ran out of something. Next, we'll talk about preventative maintenance. Now, this is definitely something I think gets overlooked. And in fact, I was in a Facebook group this morning and I saw someone post about how the cleaner had never cleaned the dryer vent. And after 6 months of this, they ended up having a very expensive repair bill because of it. And the person came to the Facebook group going, "What should I do about this?" Well, my reply back to her was, every month, check that lint filter. Don't leave it up to just your cleaner to do all of these things. Go behind them, do some quality control check, do some maintenance of your own. I have a checklist that I use, and I personally go into the properties once a month and I do a complete set of maintenance. If you guys can't do that, though, I know that's not possible for everyone. You can hire that out. You can find a local handyman that can go into the property once a month or at least once a quarter. I know some hosts do it once a quarter, and just go through a list of maintenance items. And in fact, I have a list that I've shared, and I just dropped the link in the chat. So if you guys want to hit that link, you could download a free checklist that I put together for maintenance items. And it's simple things like replacing those furnace filters that we talked about at the beginning. We want to check the plumbing because we want to see if there are any leaks. We want to clean those dryer vents. Obviously, after every time you use the dryer, you should be cleaning the vent, but at least on a monthly basis, you can take that out, put your vacuum hose down there and get a really good deep clean in there. I also do things like run a cleaning tablet through the dishwasher, especially in areas where you have hard water. You're going to want to do things like that. I do a visual inspection of the concrete and the decking to make sure that there aren't any trip hazards or any rotting or loose boards that could cause harm to someone. We're going to check the handrails. Let's make sure that those aren't loose and that those are nice and safe. So there's a whole list of things that can be done to help ensure that safety of the guest, but also to ensure that your systems are running smoothly, especially like those plumbing leaks. If you're not checking that on a regular basis and there's a leak behind a sink and you don't know about it, that's going to turn into a lot of damage over time, water, mold. And if you can get it early and get a plumber in there, get it fixed quickly, it's going to save you a lot of time and money in the long run. And then of course we have quarterly, if you have carpets in your rental, let's get those deep cleaned, inspect the caulking. That's the worst too. If the caulking comes loose in the shower and again, water gets behind there, that's just going to lead to bigger issues later. Test those smoke detectors. Yes, I have it on my cleaners checklist, but I'm also going to put my eyeballs on it and test them once a month because we're not messing around when it comes to safety. And then we have the seasonal items. Let's keep your gutters clean, trim that landscaping, weatherproof as needed. And then annually get someone up on the roof to give it a quick inspection, touch up the exterior paint, flush out the water heater. I know a lot of people don't do that, but that's especially important in areas with hard water because sediment can settle on the bottom of that water heater and cause rust and corrosion, which could lead to premature, your water heater going away prematurely, or you'd have to replace it. So let's go to the next slide. And then of course, it's important to streamline communication. So if you have more than one cleaner and you have a maintenance team, get them all in a group chat. So that way, anytime that you make changes, you can blast out a chat to everyone really quickly to say, hey, I've changed this, or I've added this, or here's a picture of what this should look like now going forward. Just makes your life easier, make sure everyone's on the same page that way. And then let's see, reminders. The Turno app that I mentioned earlier gives my cleaners and my maintenance people reminders on when the jobs are due and they're supposed to arrive. So I don't have to manually stay on top of all that. It's all done automatic for me. It also lets me know when they've completed a cleaning job. I get notifications so that I can make sure I go in and pay them. And then maintenance logs. Now, this is not legal advice, so talk to your attorney, talk to your insurance guy, but my insurance guy told me a few years ago to keep maintenance logs. And I'm going to sign them and I'm going to date them. And in fact, that link that I dropped in the chat with the free maintenance checklist at the bottom, you'll see where I date and sign once a month when I do my maintenance and I make notes. And the reason that we want to do that is if anything were to happen, I got those logs that I can bring to the table to show that I was doing my due diligence to make sure that we were keeping the unit safe and maintained and I wasn't negligent. So it's just good to have those logs on hand because you just never know when you might need them. Let's go forward another slide. And of course, back to building that consistency across your teams. Like I said, the guests, I don't know how many times I've had people mention in my reviews that it looked just like the photos. And I take that as a compliment because obviously we did something right with the cleaning team that we were able to give them the exact experience that they booked because they booked on photos. That's what they're expecting. Let's make sure we get that to them. So those written checklists, those pictures in the binder, that helps me accomplish that. Those photos obviously set the standards for every room that we have. And then of course, consistent feedback. Once a month, I'm in there quality control checking, and I'm going to give any feedback that I need to my cleaners so that we can adjust accordingly. And I'm going to give them praise too. When they do a great job, I want to make sure that they know that I appreciate them and that I love their help. And then that goes back with those audits, right? once a month. If you can't do it, hire someone else to get in there behind that cleaning team and just do a little quick quality control check. And then, of course, that's going to lead to our big payoff. You're going to get better reviews. And if you get better reviews, you're going to get more bookings. You can probably raise your price a little bit because you'll be able to command that rate since your reviews will be behind you. It's going to give you fewer emergencies. Again, if you can check that plumbing leak or catch that plumbing leak early, get a plumber in there and fix it when you have some downtime, it's going to help you instead of waiting and not knowing about it. And then it's catastrophic and you've got to cancel reservations, issue refunds because you've got this major issue. Protects the property value. Obviously, things like cleaning the gutters aren't a lot of fun. I get it, but there's a reason that we need to do it. We need to keep the gutters free so that the rain can flow through and funnel that water away from the foundations, that we can protect the investment that we spent a lot of time and money putting together. And then, of course, it helps you scale and grow. Once you have a good system in place, you're kind of running on autopilot. It takes a little bit of time to get it all put together, but once you've got it there, you can just go and you can quickly then refocus your time on acquiring more properties if that's what your goal is. Okay, so let's talk about how you can take action. And I know it's hard if you haven't put systems into place yet to sit here and listen to someone like me say, this is what you should be doing, and I want you to go do it all tomorrow. That's not possible. We get that. So what I would recommend is let's do it in phases. If your cleaning and maintenance is ready for an overhaul, let's start with phase one. Maybe this week we implement a basic checklist. And there's a bunch of free ones online. You can just Google, free STR cleaning checklist or go to Pinterest and download STR cleaning checklists and find something that fits your space, modify it to your specific needs, and let's get that started. Let's get a checklist together for your cleaning team so that everybody's consistent. And look into those apps if you want, add in the tech. Again, I highly recommend it. It just makes your life easier. It automates everything. It stores all the photos for you. It just makes life so much easier. But if you're not into tech and you want to do pen and paper, that's fine too. Just get a binder and put all those checklists in there. Your cleaner can sign and date them. Your maintenance logs, they can be signed and dated, and everything can be maintained in a binder. If you ever need to look at it, you've got it there on site. And then, so maybe this week you start the cleaning checklist. Maybe next week you look into some tech. Maybe the week after or next month when you have some time, let's implement the maintenance routine. Again, you can go to Pinterest and find a checklist, or you can look at the one that I dropped in the chat for you. And then, of course, let's start auditing regularly. So maybe in the next couple of months when you have time, get into your house or hire someone to go in there and go behind everyone and just make sure everything's been done to your standards. And then, of course, we'll open it up for Q&A. That didn't take very long to get through. Does anybody have any questions? Will these slides be available? I do believe so, Jennifer. Lou, can you confirm that? The cleaning app is called Turno, Megan. Yes, Turno. I know that there's other ones out there. Breezeway, I believe, is another one. I've only personally used Turno. It was the first one I used, and it's worked for me, so I haven't changed it. I will tell you that if you use OwnerRez as your software, if anybody's using software, I'm going to write that in the chat here. Turno is free with OwnerRez. So if you already are paying for OwnerRez, look into Turno because it won't cost you anything. If you're not using OwnerRez, Turno is free for the first property. So you guys for free can go try it out, see if you like it. And then as you add more properties, there is like a fee if you're not using OwnerRez to get Turno. And I'm not really sure what that is. But like I said, through OwnerRez, I can do as many properties as I want. I currently have 4 on there and I don't pay anything additional. Lou said she can send that over. Perfect for the slides. Okay, so any other questions? This is pretty easy. I've got a cleaning checklist. I need to see if I can stop sharing really fast. You know what I can do? Let me share my binder for one of my properties if you guys want to see what that looks like that I leave for my cleaning team. And I may be able to share the Canva template for you. I'm sorry, I didn't think about doing that before I got started. Let me find it here really fast since we have some time. And if anybody has any other questions, drop them in. There it is. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and show you guys my cleaning. This is the paper copy that I leave at the property in a little binder for the cleaning team. And the checklist in here matches what is in the Turno app for them. So there we go. Okay, so basically I have just a 3-ring binder that's got a clear pocket in the front, and this page right here is on the binder cover basically. So this just says, hey, the next guest is going to check in at 4 in case they forget. They need to know when they need to hurry up and get out of there by. And then I have my cell phone number if the cleaning team has any questions. And this is helpful. Not only, I mean, I typically have the same cleaners go every time, but what if someone's sick and they have a backup go? This is really good for the backup to be able to figure out everything they need really without having to call me. So that's on the cover. And then as they open it up, I've got my cleaning checklist here. And so I've got, upon arrival, please notice any damage or like any cigarette smells or anything like that. I tell them where to take the trash. Let me zoom in here a little bit. And then obviously we've got all of the items that I want them to hit, what guest supplies that I want to make sure that they restock in each room. So I've got the kitchen here, and then we have the bedrooms, we have the bathrooms, and then I have photos. And so, this particular bedroom doesn't have an ensuite bathroom, but our other bathrooms do, or other bedrooms do. So in this one, I'm like, hey, since we don't have an ensuite bathroom here, I want to make sure these guests have towels. So this is the only bed where we're going to have towels on the bed. And so I've got a picture to show them that I want towels on the bed. And then obviously this is how each bed needs to be. And then I also have a picture of our guest closet. So I want them to know this is kind of how many towels I want in that guest closet as extra towels for them. And then I've got living room information outside. And then I've got some information on each of the beds. So we have 2 king suites in this house. And so again, I've got pictures because I want them to know exactly how I want the pillows and the bed scarves to be so that we can maintain that consistency. And then I also have some notes about, which sheets that you're supposed to use, because our sheet system, I love the sheets, but the tags are terrible. So we kind of spell it out for them so that they can find them easy. Which that reminds me, we keep 3 sets of the linens for each bed so that they can quickly change the sheets, get the old ones off, get the new ones on, get the new duvets on, and then take everything down to the laundry and wash it then, and then put it back when they're done. And we keep a 3rd set in each of the bedroom closets in case the guests ever need to change the sheets while they're there. It doesn't happen that often, but there has been times that it has needed to happen. And it's kind of nice that the guest, again, doesn't have to call you in the middle of the night asking for extra sheets, but also what if they need to change the sheets because of something sensitive and they don't want to have that conversation with you? It just kind of helps give them their dignity if they need. So we keep a 3rd set in the closet, and then we have 2 sets that we're constantly rotating out. And then, of course, I have a page, again, for the queen beds. I want them to see exactly how I want the rooms to be laid out, and then information on all of that. And then a couple extra pictures, like here's how I want, the coffee setup to be inside the cabinet. Make sure that they stock all of those things. And then just some other things that I've noticed in the past cleaners have missed. So we want to point it out and make sure they know where everything is. So that's what I do. Any questions on that? Go ahead and stop the sharing. Okay, so Monica says, I have owner res. Do I sign up through Turno? Can I share my checklists? Okay, so let me answer your question first, Scott. If you scroll up the chat, the maintenance checklist is in there. Let me share this Canva template with you guys for the paper cleaning checklist. I don't think I can share like the Turno version, but you'll be able to take from this paper version and load it into Turno or Breezeway or whatever app you guys, if you choose that. So let me see how I can share template. Here we go. So for those of you that have Canva, and there is a free version of Canva, so you can sign up for Canva for free. I believe that link there should help you create that template. If not, shoot me an email and I'll make sure I get like a PDF or something to you. Okay, so there's the cleaning checklist. And then Scott, if you scroll up, you'll see the maintenance checklist. Or here, let me just drop it in again. to make it easy for everybody. So here you can download the free maintenance checklist that I use. And then Monica, I don't remember how to sign up for Turno. I think you go through OwnerRes and do it. I'm gonna look real fast. I think if you just type in like OwnerRes integrations into Google, and you'll see their list of integrations, there's a link for Turno, and then the instructions are in there. But yeah, if you're paying for OwnerRes, take advantage of that free Turno app. Oh, and a little piece of info for you on Turno. So Turno has different ways for you to work with your cleaners. If you find your own cleaner and you take them to the Turno app, meaning like, Monica, I've hired you as my cleaner I met you on Facebook maybe, and I hired you. I'm going to send you the link for you to sign up for Turno, a free account as a cleaner. And then I don't have to pay you through Turno, but I can pay you on my own through like Zelle or whatever we set up. And I don't have to pay Turno any fees. And you, Monica, as my cleaner, do not have to pay Turno any fees. However, Turno also has a marketplace where you can find cleaners if you need. So if you've got a new Airbnb opening up and you need to go find some qualified cleaners that are already used to doing Airbnbs and with reviews and ratings, you can go on Turno and do a free search and find cleaners. And then you can interview them via chat and you can hire them. Now, if you hire them through Turno, you do have to pay an extra fee when you pay them. It's a small percentage. So you're going to want to build that into the cleaning fee that you charge the guest. So just want to note that if you bring your cleaners into the app, totally free. If you're going to use cleaners you find from their app, there's an extra fee that Turno gets each time you pay them. I've done it both ways. I found my own cleaners and I brought them to Turno. And then I also have some cleaners I found through Turno. I will tell you the cleaners I found through Turno are amazing. And I can pay them automatically through Turno, which just saves me time. The ones I bring in, I have to manually pay. And so that's just an extra layer, just an extra step I have to do. So again, even with the extra fees, build it into your cleaning fee and you guys will be fine. But I just wanted to bring that up. Yes, all good with sharing about webinar recording. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Scott. I'm glad I answered that question. Okay. I just signed up for Turno directly on the site. Okay, Megan says she just signed up for Turno directly on the site. How do you choose what cleaner you want besides just looking at their ratings? Perfect question. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start a cleaner search. So first you have to like integrate your property, I believe, and get your property set up with how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many square feet, so that the cleaners kind of have an idea of what they're getting into. And then you're going to go open a new cleaner search and you're going to wait for the bids to come in. So then the cleaners are going to look at your profile, look at your house information, and they're going to send you a bid. You're going to get a lot of bids. Like some areas you're going to get a lot and some maybe not. It just depends on how many cleaners are in that area. And so what I do is I go through and anybody that is background checked, which they all are, I believe, but anybody that also has insurance, because I require insurance, I'm calling them first. I shouldn't say call. I'm going to message them. You're going to message them through the app and you're going to chat back and forth. And I'm going to give them more detail and I'm going to make sure they're up for the challenge. And then you're going to start building your team. And so Turno specifically, you're going to have a primary cleaner and then you're going to have backup cleaners. So I have a primary. Every booking that comes in automatically goes to Turno and it gets assigned to the primary cleaner. That person can accept or reject. If she accepts, great, it's hers. If she rejects, then it's going to go to my backup. So what I usually do is I have one primary and then I'll have like 3 backups. So that way I am covered in case my primary is too busy and can't do it, and a couple of backups are too busy and can't do it. And I've never had a problem doing it that way. And I tell people that as I'm interviewing them, I choose my primary and I say, hey, you're going to be my primary. And then as I choose the backups, I ask them, do you guys want to be a backup? And then they can say yes or no. So I'm going to first start chats with anybody that's insured. And then anybody that isn't insured, if I still need more people, I'll start chats with them and I'll ask them, are you interested in getting insurance, liability insurance? And if you are, I'd be interested in paying you a little bit more because obviously you're going to have that expense now. And so I've had cleaners go and get insurance because they wanted to work with me. So, and that's just something I require. It's not something that you have to require. How can you tell if they're insured? Great. Good question, Megan. There's a little, when you start the cleaner search, and the bids start coming in, you'll have a dashboard that'll have like all the cleaners lined up that have sent bids in. And there's little icons to the right. So like their pictures on the left, some little information about them's in the middle, and then you'll see some icons on the right. And the icons will show background check, insurance. There's one other icon. I can't remember what it is. And so you'll be able to quickly see who's got it. Some people, though, didn't mark it because there have been some times where I've reached out to cleaners and asked them and they said, oh, I have it. I just didn't have it marked in there. License. Yes. License is the other one. Thank you. So yeah, I love the Turno app, obviously. I'm a fan. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I need better systems. Okay. Nicole says, I need better systems to document the condition of the home when guests arrive. Example, the sheets. Pictures usually show the beds made. How do you document the beds and sheets have been turned? I've got to trust that they've done it. I mean, there's no other way that I can think about it. I do have them take a picture of every room. And so that the app allows them to store photos. Again, they're time-stamped, so I know when they cleaned them. And I just have to trust that they cleaned them. Now, I will tell you, when I quality control check, I'm pulling the duvets back and I'm looking at the sheets. Not that I don't think that they wash them, but sometimes even when you wash them, a hair could get left behind. And so I'm just or stains, they might have missed some stains. And so I'm kind of double checking, because if they're stains, obviously we want to pull those out of rotation. So we've just got to trust that they're doing what we're paying them to do. Yes, all was good. Okay, that already answered that one. One more question. Oh no, you can ask as many as you want, Megan. I love it. Do you have a maintenance contact finder? So Turno has just started that, actually. Some of the people you can see are like handymen qualified or something. That's on there. How I find them, though, I haven't used Turno for that. I go to Facebook. So I find the local group in the town that I have Airbnb in, and I go and I search for, I'll type in the search handyman, and I find posts that people have already asked for a handyman. And then I go through the comments and I see who was recommended. And obviously you'll see a few people that were recommended a lot. And I'm going to reach out to them first. And I'm just going to send them a message through Facebook, and I'm going to start that conversation and ask them if they're interested in doing a monthly maintenance at my properties. Because I only have one that I personally don't go to because it's far, but the rest of them I visit myself, which I may be hiring that out soon as I get busier. I do the same thing for cleaners, though, too. I've done that in the past. I've gone to Facebook groups, like community groups, and typed in housekeeper or house cleaner and read the posts and looked at comments and reached out to people that way. Because to me, if someone else is asking that question and other people are recommending who they love, that's a win. Obviously, they recommend they like that person. I like that better than me going to Facebook and saying, hey, I need a cleaner. And then all the cleaners come at me themselves, because I don't know. Obviously, they're self-promoting, and that's great, but I don't know what their work is. I want recommendations from people that have actually used them and want to put their name on the line to recommend them. Okay. Any other questions for cleaning and maintenance? This is fun stuff. I love talking about this stuff. Okay. Referrals are huge. Yeah. Do you have general questions that you ask your cleaners and maintenance contacts? Great question there. So I spell it out for them. I say, look, this is for example, that one I shared with you with the cleaning checklist. When I first initiate the conversation, after I get their bid, I say, thank you so much for your bid. I just want to make sure that you understand this is a 4-bed, 3.5 bath house. It's 2,600 square feet. We have 5 beds, 2 king, 3 queen. Most of our beds get used on every turn. So you're going to be washing linens for 5 beds. And obviously we keep enough towels for each person to have 2 plus extras. So there's going to be a lot of towels to be washed. Our checkout time is 11. Our check-in time is 4. We got a 5-hour window. Is this something that you can do? And I ask them that first. And so then I let them tell me. I kind of want to scare them. Like, I want to say, this is what's going to happen. I need you to know this. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat it at all. And then I let them come back and say, yes, we can handle it. Perfect. Then my next question is going to be, how long have you been cleaning Airbnbs? How many are you typically doing on a weekend? Because that's another thing too. I don't want to get, if you've got a lot of weekend people and most of your people are checking out on a Sunday and your cleaners are working other places on Sundays, are they going to have time to get to mine? So I'm going to ask that, like, how many large places, first of all, are you familiar with larger places? And how many are you doing typically on a weekend or whatever days are busy for you? My market tends to be very weekend heavy. So that's definitely a question I'm going to ask. If you're not weekend heavy, then that obviously would be different for you. And so if the cleaner's pretty free on some Sundays, then they're probably going to be my primary. If they're pretty booked up, and I like them, then they're probably going to be a backup. So you make sure all linens are cleaned on site. I just spoke with a cleaner who will take the dirty linens home and bring. I have both. So I have some properties where they take them home because I have one property, I have two cousins that clean. And so obviously they can exchange linens if needed. And so they take them home because then that way, if one cleans, like if Grace cleaned last, but Kylie's coming next, Grace can make sure she gets the sheets to Kylie to take them back on the next turn because they'll take them home and store them and then bring them back when they turn again. So that's one scenario. I have another scenario where with the 5 beds that we went over here, they do them all on site. So we have 2 washers and dryers so that they can turn them fast and get them all clean there. If there's extras, because it's pretty much the same person that's always there. It's a team of 2, actually. Occasionally, when like every single towel is used, she will take a load or 2 home, but for the most part, she does it all there. And then I don't currently, but I have in the past had someone take it all to a laundromat. So she would come, spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours cleaning the house. Then she would go to the laundromat and do it all. Then she would bring it back and drop it off. And then she would go home. And that was her choice to do that. So it just depends on what they want to do. And that's a question you can ask them. Like, hey, are you comfortable doing all of the linens on site? Or would you prefer to take them home? Would you prefer to take them to a laundromat? Like, how do you want this to be handled? Which makes me a bit nervous. Oh, okay. So to answer the second part of that question or statement, makes you a bit nervous to get yours mixed in with others. They bag them. So the people that take them home will bag them up and label them. So just provide them with clear trash bags if you needed, or they can get their own, obviously, and then they'll bag them up and label them that way. So then that way, if they're doing more than one house, they can keep them all together. And you'll know, I mean, I use the same linens on every house, so I know if they're mine or not, which they've always been mine. I've never had a problem with them. Okay. Any other questions? This was fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me on probably your lunch hour or the middle of the day. I do believe they're going to post this online as well, maybe on the YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it later. And if you have any other questions, just you can feel free to reach out, Melissa@savvy.realty. Thanks, everyone.